Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our Team of the Week.
Get in here! I got one thing to say.
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
Indeed it is, and that is where we go now. His team last week, it was brother versus brother. It was Kelvis versus LaRon, Bob Jones versus Sparkman. And that game itself lived up to everything that it was supposed to be. It was a huge, huge region, Class 7A 4 region battle, and it lived up to the billing. Bob Jones, Sparkman had a chance to take the lead with a late field goal. Bob Jones comes up huge. They block it. They return it for a touchdown. And then Sparkman, They drive the ball all the way down to the 2-yard line, and they had a shot to win the game, and the Bob Jones defense comes up huge again. I mean, this game had every twist and turn imaginable.
It really did, and now our next guest is 3-1 against his brother now in his career, as we call it, the White Bowl, the Kelvis White versus LaRon White game. It's become a regular one. Before, when each was at one and when Kelvis was at Mae Jemison and LaRon at Tanner, they met, and then as they've come to both be head coaches in 7A Region 4, they in the same region. They meet each and every season. This is the third year for him at Bob Jones. Bob Jones got that huge win, and now they control their own destiny in making the playoffs. And because of this 48-40 win that Scott's talking about, the Bob Jones Patriots, are the ESPN 97.7 The Zone Team of the Week presented by Bryant Bank. And Kelvis White's been good enough to join us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline to talk some Bob Jones Patriots football. Coach, congratulations on the huge win in 7A Region 4, and we always appreciate your time. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. That was a great win, and put us in good position for the playoffs. So we just gotta, keep playing hard. That's it.
A little nerve-wracking there, a little tense moments there in those final minutes of the fourth quarter.
That's right. It was a true four-quarter game. We went up 2 touchdowns, I think at 3 different times, but they just wouldn't go away. Both teams played hard, and even to the last play, and we're fortunate enough to make the plays to win the game.
Well, my biggest question is, I'm sure your mother and father were watching the game. Coach Lewis White, how did he adapt to the fact that you guys, the defense, was a little bit lacking in regulation?
Yeah, that wasn't a positive note on either end.
No, I know. I just kept thinking about him, like, oh man, neither team can make a stop.
That's right. But, it's just hats off to both offenses. Like the score 40 points plus points, and, both defenses going to definitely have to improve a little bit.
Yeah. Well, what's that like, though, going in? Sparkman coming in, they were, before the game, one of the best scoring offenses in all of 7A. And really, up until that end where it was like, wow. Your defense had done a good job of trying to control one of the most potent offenses in 7A.
That's right, and they do a good job, and their quarterback, did a great job of distributing the ball a little bit, and the running back got loose on us a few times. So, we just got to do a better job of tackling and knowing our assignments for the most part, but. Again, the credit goes to them. They never quit. There was a lot of opportunities there where they could have just, folded, but they didn't. And all the way till we blocked the kick and ran it back, and they get the ball with less than a minute and drive down and to the 2-yard line. So, they just played a complete game. So.
Well, we're talking to Kelvis White, and Coach, I was looking at it too. I just wanted to double check it because I thought that was the case because I actually saw y'all's game at Madison City School Stadium that didn't go your way. It came down basically to the last 30 seconds against Huntsville, but you've played 5 region games, and 4 of them have come down basically to the final minute. It's been amazing, the competition. They've all been one-score games.
That's right, and I tell people all the time, the top 6 teams in this region, I think, on any night, that it could go either way. Just the room for error is very small. So, again, the Huntsville game, we're inches away from a first down.
Yep.
And the Florence game, they blocked the field goal to send it in overtime. So, we're 7 points away from total points away from being undefeated in the region too. So, and we understand that. But moving forward, the last 2 games, we're playing a good Austin team this week, and it's going to come down to the end, we're sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, and you do have that confidence though coming off this Sparkman win, and like you said, I mean, you can put confidence in the fact, and you can preach it to the kids that, hey, look, yeah, we are this close. We can play with the best. Now, here comes right now the best in the region, and we have a shot again to prove it.
That's right, and Coach Perkins has done a great job at Austin, and those guys are, defensively, their front 7, they're really good. So we're going to have to be able to score some points and have to slow down their running game with the quarterback and the running backs. So defensively, it's another tough week. We're going to be able to tackle and get some big stops.
Well, and again, Coach, I know you need a little help with Huntsville, and of course you could get some help from your brother this week. And then Florence has still got a tough game at Sparkman too. So not completely out of the question even to get a home playoff game and get one of the top 2 seeds in the region. So a lot to play for. You at least want the playoffs are definitely within reach, but you still got that carrot out there if you take care of your business and get a little help to get a home playoff game.
That's right, and that's what I've been emphasizing to the guys. We only control what we can control, and that's Austin this week, and then the next one the following week. So there's a lot of different scenarios how this region can play out. But again, we just focus on Austin and taking care of what we can control.
Coach, I mean, at the time, I mean, is it hard to believe that there's just 2 region games left in the season?
Yeah, it goes by quick.
Really fast. Again, it seems like we were just in the summer workouts a few weeks ago, but it's going by fast. And but I tell those seniors, it's winding down, so we got to make sure you continue to play at a high level and doing everything right and finishing the season, so we can have a chance to get in the playoffs and continue to play, extend our season.
Well, and you got some special seniors led by your quarterback, Ray Hardy, who's such a versatile kid. And it took a huge game out of him with his legs and with his arm to get this win against Sparkman, Coach. And he had a great year last year as well, helping you guys, get some huge wins. Talk about Ray and the rest of these seniors. How many seniors do you have this year as well? Is it a big senior group for you? But I know Ray is. Anytime you have a senior quarterback, and he's versatile because against Huntsville, he lined up some at receiver and caught a touchdown, made some plays for you. But I know he and Fields, those guys have meant a lot to Bob Jones.
That's right, and again, Ray Sean is a tremendous athlete. He's a dual threat quarterback. He probably could start anywhere on the field at any skill position. And like I said, we moved him around a little bit. But the last 2 weeks, he's kind of settled in at quarterback. He's throwing the ball great. We even play him on defense some. So he's done a great job. And but we have some other seniors, and he's named Kelly Fields at receiver, and Quentin Hubbard's come up big here the last couple games, and. We have 34 seniors in this group. And,
wow.
A lot of those guys, it's a big senior class. And, Maddox Sunderman on the offensive line and, Christian Kemp on the defensive line. So it's a lot of guys who played a lot of snaps. And, again, they're fighting every week, and they understand the importance of this game. And we just got to go out there and continue to work.
Yeah, when you look at Austin, you kind of alluded to it, that they have got a great front 7. What else stands out for you, or stands out to you, I should say, on film when you look at the Austin Black Bears?
Well, the quarterback, like I say, he can really make some things happen with his legs especially. And, again, I think, Coach, they found what they like to do, and they're doing a good job of it. They've won I think it's 6 in a row, and they're doing a really good job. So we just gotta, again, it's going to be a battle, and our guys understand it's going to be some ups and downs. We just got to go out and compete every play, and try to finish the game in the end.
Mm-hmm, no question about that. And, Coach, as you said, this is a really large senior class for you, 34 seniors, and they made the playoffs a year ago. I know they didn't advance past round one. I know that left a bitter taste in their mouth, and they definitely want to try to get back in the tournament. And, as you said, with the ups and downs of the season, it took a huge swing to the pendulum to get this win against certainly against Sparkman last week. This would be as big a win as you guys have had because, again, it puts you in position, almost really seals a playoff berth, and then you got a chance to even with some help, you'll have to scoreboard watch and see if you can get that home playoff game. But getting to the playoffs for the seniors, once again, I know would be big for them.
That's right. And, preseason, that was one of our goals, just to, get into the playoffs for opportunity to extend your season and compete for a championship. So, we would love to host, but at the end of the day, we're going to go out and just try to focus on, again, what we can control, and that's Austin. And if we know if we do that, that'll put us in great position. So we just got to continue to have a good week of practice and, go out here and play hard.
Well, and Coach, with your football team, what have you been the most pleased with as far as growth goes? Because you guys have played a very difficult schedule. Your out-of-region schedule should help you prepare you for the playoffs because you guys played Muscle Shoals, who's only lost one game all year, the first game, and then you're going to bookend it. You're going to play, and you played Athens, and you're going to play Hartselle as well. So you guys obviously had a lot of confidence in this group, a lot of seniors coming in, and you tested them out of region to prepare them for a tough matchup against 7A Region 3 potentially if you make the playoffs.
That's right, and it's a tough non-region schedule with those teams you mentioned, Hartselle and Muscle Shoals and Athens. So they play hard as well, but again, that's 7A football. We only cross for one region, and that's the Birmingham region. So
right.
1 through 4 is going to be tough. So, in order to be prepared for that, you have to play a tough schedule. So, no matter where you fall in your region, 1 through 4, you're going to have your hands full with any team coming from Birmingham or the Tuscaloosa region. So, I think that's going to help us prepare for that level of football, and we just gotta just get after it. That's the biggest thing. But I look back, maybe I could have scheduled a little better. But, now those are two quality teams, and it's going to help us get prepared for the playoffs, definitely.
Well, Coach, how does it feel we like to honor those that work hard and everything, and this week we're honoring Bob Jones as the 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. How does that one feel?
That's good. It's to win a region game, to put ourselves in a great position to make the playoffs. And, I'm the little brother, so to have a chance to compete with LaRon, which I hate to do. We could be competing for so long, but it's always a little sweet to win it as well. So I really appreciate you guys bringing us the Team of the Week.
Yeah, it's $500 to your program, Coach. We certainly appreciate that, and we appreciate Bryant Bank for their support, and it's big for your program. You've got a lot of seniors, so I know that $500 will be put to great use for your program, and you've done a great job at Bob Jones keeping them very, very competitive in 7A Region 4, and certainly the games have all lived up to the hype and got a chance to have a strong finish, and it's going to be one of the biggest games of the week this week with the Austin Black Bears. They're a former Team of the Week as well. So good luck to your team, Coach, and safe travels to you, and we hope to see you later this week to present you with a $500 check from Bryant Bank.
All right, thank you all for having me on. I really appreciate it.
That's Bob Jones, head coach Kelvis White, his team, our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. And it is. You look at those region standings. Austin starts the week 5-0. Florence 4-1. Bob Jones, Huntsville 3-2. Sparkman and James Clemens 2-3. And then Grissom and Albertville rounding out the region standings. And there's still a lot of great games to play. As you mentioned, Huntsville has to take on Sparkman.
Yep.
There's a lot of crisscrossing there still to be decided because a lot of those still have to play each other. So there's a lot to be determined in just 2 weeks of football.
Well, and even James Clemens, they got off to a slower start, Scott, but they've got 2 very winnable region games left and a chance to still be 4-3 in the region. And with all those tiebreakers, they would have a tiebreaker, of course, over Huntsville High because they beat them in a very close game early in the season. They also beat Sparkman. So they're not completely done, even though they would only be, I think, 4-6. They would still have a chance to make the playoffs because of the 4 region wins. It may come down to some tiebreakers, though, because, like you said, it's pretty much a log jam. Now Austin could relieve some of that, if they continue doing what they're doing, because they'll be the 1. But then your 2, 3, and 4 is going to come down to a lot of tiebreakers, and it's a huge game for Huntsville this week on Thursday. Sparkman as well. Sparkman was rolling at one point during the regular season in the region, but they've had a couple of tough losses, including to James Clemens and to Bob Jones, and so they really need to beat Huntsville High over at Milton Frank Stadium on Thursday to continue to control their own destiny. Now, Huntsville, same way. If Huntsville can beat certainly Sparkman, then they control their own destiny, and they could even still be in contention for a home playoff game. So it's crazy, man. There's a lot of competition out there.
Bob Jones, again, host Austin this week. Albertville will host James Clemens. So, and the reason why we've got Thursday games is because Bob Jones is at home, and with only one place to play, you got to do that. So Florence will host Grissom this week, and that is a Thursday night game as well. So we've got a lot of great football. To be played. And, again, make sure you download that 97.7 ESPN The Zone app so you can stay with high school football each and every week right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Yeah, and Austin, they're 5-0, and they've done a great job in the region, but they had a close call with James Clemens, and James Clemens pushed them. And so you got to believe that that Bob Jones has got a legit shot in this game, especially with it being played at Madison City School Stadium. So this is going to be some crazy stuff.
You look at it, and Sparkman nearly had a late field goal chance. They did. They had a late field goal chance to beat Austin back in the first week of region play. And that just tells you how razor thin the margin is in this region. I mean, it is so close and so tight. All right, let's get that break in. Going to wrap up hour 1 when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got emergency units responding to a stabbing at Johnson Towers on Seminole. Got a wreck at 53 and Ready section that reported as an injury type. Southbound county line at Madison Boulevard should be about ready to clear. Sounds like Pulaski Pike and Patterson Lane may have a partially overturned vehicle. Southbound Research Park near University should be clearing quickly. And that wreck with a pedestrian involved is near Hobbs Road. I understand the parkway's one lane there. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over or slow down. It's the law. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Mercury Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, Mercury Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives. Here's something to get your tailgating in gear this football season. Brooks & Collier have the perfect selection of outdoor furniture for your dream backyard and the biggest selection of grills from Big Green Egg, Traeger, Blaze, Memphis, and Montalpi. Football season is grilling season. Lucy and Ivy, they're just waiting on something to fall off the grill. And remember, you could qualify for 12 months deferred interest with Synchrony Bank. Brooks & Collier, 813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill. Humphreys is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials. $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints. $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget football trivia every Sunday night at 6. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
The Huntsville Sports Commission, a not-for-profit organization, is driven by the love of sports. And we're excited to announce several events already planned for this fall, including the Gulf South Conference Soccer Championship, the AVCA Fall Collegiate Beach Championships, the NCAA Division I Regional Cross Country Championship, and the Running Lane Cross Country Championships. For the love of sports, the Huntsville Sports Commission. Find out more at huntsvillesports.org.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And one of the biggest things, college football is important, but did you know last week the most watched college football games in week 6, Alabama and Texas A&M took the mantle. 7.1 million people tuned in to watch Alabama and Texas A&M in prime time. Now, the NFL does set the stage. They set the bar. I think they average around 18 million a weekend. But for college football to get 7.1 in one game is pretty impressive. Now, a lot of people were questioning the Auburn-Georgia game at 2:30.
Yeah.
That drew 4.2 million people. It was the third most watched college football game on Saturday. The Tennessee-LSU game did not do bad for an 11 a.m. kick. 3 million people tuned in at 11 a.m. And the Red River Shootout, which was bad, horrendous, had 3.4 million, and Michigan and Indiana had 4. So those are some of the numbers. Ohio State and Michigan State had 4.4 million on ABC. But those are some of the most watched college football games last week. You notice we didn't mention any Pac-12 games.
No.
There was one, UCLA and Utah was 2.7 million, but still that's quite a far drop from...
How many people were actually at the game, I wonder?
Actually, no, UCLA sold it out.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, they sold it out last weekend. They actually had people
in attendance. Was Bill Walton giving away weed? I mean, wow. It's legal there, I think. I mean,
that may be the best line that I've heard in quite some time.
Lord, early in the season, I mean, heck, fire. I mean, I've seen more people at Milton Frank Stadium
for like
game.
For certain high school games.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm like, good Lord.
Yes.
I looked at the Rose Bowl, and I'm like, man, dude, you don't have to worry about parking, and you ain't got to worry about getting there, until if you get there right before kickoff, there's going to be plenty of good seats available, bro.
Yes. No, they But no, they did. They had a sellout. They made a big deal about the fact that, but UCLA, though, if you look at it right now in the Pac-12, UCLA, USC, Oregon, I mean, they have 3 teams that are inside the top 12. I think they actually have 4 because USC is number 7, UCLA is 11, Oregon is 12, and Utah is 20th. So they have 4 teams inside the top 25, with USC still undefeated, UCLA's undefeated, Oregon is 5-1. So as much as we make fun of the Pac-12, they still have some
They
shots
still suck.
to get to the playoffs.
We'll see if Oregon might be the best team. I mean, they've been flying under the radar since they got eviscerated in game 1. Just didn't play well. But I give Dan Lanning credit. I wasn't sure how good they'd be in year 1. They certainly have stepped up since then. And I mean, I will say this: I don't know how David Shaw still has a job. The way they lost to Oregon State last week, that was absolutely horrific. And they're paying that clown $8.5 million a year. Of course, part of his duties is probably to be a propagandist for Joe. But, I mean, who knows?
Oh, anyway, we got a message through our app.
Yeah.
And I can't read one of the words, so we'll just have to do my best here. It says, "Good morning, it's Tennessee Hate Week. They are talking beep up here. Roll Tide roll." So I assume it's from someone in Knoxville.
They are.
Imagine.
They're confident, man. We had our staff meeting, our annual meeting on Tuesday. We listened to a little bit of Tony Basilio. I got a message about this, I guess. Even from Rodney Orr on TireInsider.com, I work very closely with him. He goes, this guy, Tony Basilio, I was listening to him, and I mean, on a show, I think he was on in Tuscaloosa yesterday with our good friend Ryan Fowler. He's like, man, why even play the game? Why should Alabama even show up? I mean, it's just going to be the most unbelievable environment that's ever been created, and, this game's over already. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, but it's good to see the Vol fans excited. They certainly are.
Question is, who will be the celebrity game day picker for this game? That's what a lot of people that's what a lot of people are wanting to know. Is, do they reach out and get Dolly Parton?
Well, Kenny Chesney sticks out to me because he's one of the biggest celebrity Vol fans there is.
Smokey Mike says no one.
It's not going to be Steve Spurrier. We're not falling for that this time.
Yeah,
Don't fall for the fake Vol news. I'll tell you that. Right?
No Kenny Chesney.
For that.
No Kenny Chesney.
Kenny Chesney's a poser. Let me tell you that. That is the thing.
He's not
with
really
all Vol fans right there. He's a fan of everybody.
Oh,
it's like Drake. If you see him wear your colors, do not.
I thought it was legit.
Like
I did too. I always thought he was legit.
I mean, I watched the Converse Holloway special.
And he wrote that country song.
Yeah.
That I thought. Yeah. I mean, he wrote that country song. He wrote a bunch of country songs, but
that'd be a big no on the Kenny Chesney. Dolly, yes, very much so. No Kenny Chesney.
Dolly Parton.
Wow.
I did not. I mean, I knew Dolly Parton and everything, but really beloved Tennessee fan. Is she a really beloved Tennessee fan? We don't know. All right. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management hotline. And it's Ellis, by the way. Ellis is texting in through the app. Telling us that
he lives in Manchester, so he's in the middle of it.
Okay, so so he's feeling the heat this week.
Yeah, he's they're giving him some heat.
I wonder,
he's been able to dominate the conversation for 15 years.
I'm wondering now if it's safe to wear. I mean, leading into the game, I mean, wearing your Alabama gear around.
I need to check out Big Vol Daddy. He's probably very confident all of a sudden. I mean, he kind of disappeared after all the anvils, but I mean, he's another one that everyone discovered him for the Mount Cody block years ago, and
okay,
yeah, and then he became a YouTube star. So we'll see.
A YouTube star.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, though, if you don't want to get caught up in all the madness of going to Neyland Stadium, feel free to drive over to Toyota Field on Saturday.
There you go.
I was out there yesterday. They were painting the field. They were painting the field, getting it ready to go for a college football game. Let me tell you what, it looks a little different out there with the goalpost out there in the field and everything. And
heading in one direction.
Yeah, one direction football. And I was talking to Dr. Josh Looney, athletics director from North Alabama, and he said they actually had more room down there than they thought they would after they got the field out. Yeah. And really, if they only could get about 5 more feet, they could actually do both ways. Literally about 5 feet.
Yeah,
they could make it both ways.
Yeah.
But still, though, the field looks great. They've done a fantastic job out there.
A lot of enthusiasm because, the tickets I know sold out on the UNA side fast.
And Jacksonville State released, I think they said yesterday, Jacksonville State released a few of their reserve seats back for sale. And they are expecting around 10,000 people out there on Saturday to Toyota Field. So if you are going to the game, the advice that we got yesterday was arrive early.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 6 o'clock kick.
Right.
They said arrive early. There will be spots out there to tailgate. You can pull in, but you can only get one car in one space. You can't do, you. So if you want to tailgate with your friends, you got to make sure they're in line to pull in with you so you can actually get the spots together. There'll be RV parking out there. They're going to do it right. So get out there early, though, if you're going to the UNA Jacksonville State game. By our good friends Martin Federal, though. I got to let Matt Schmitz, there you go. Got you covered on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Martin Federal, big part of that game.
Martin Federal's been promoting this, and they've been a big part of it. I know Dr. Josh Looney thanked them, and as he told me, there's a ton of demand for tickets, so it should be a great crowd.
Yep. All right, that's hour 1 in the books. We're going to get you back underway. Hour 2, 97.7 ESPN The Zone's Talking Ball.
If you're anything like me, you're ready to say goodbye budget stress and hello fall style. That's why I went to Kohl's, where I not only got an extra 15% off, I also got styles from Sonoma Goods for Life for under $9, clothes for my husband from Apartment 9 at just over $10, and boots for less than $43. Or you can save more with a Kohl's card. So if you want more style and more savings, you know where to go. Select styles, 15% offer in September 25th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got emergency units responding to a stabbing at Johnson Towers on Seminole. Got a wreck at 53 and Ready section that reported as an injury type. Southbound county line at Madison Boulevard should be about ready to clear. Sounds like Pulaski Pike and Patterson Lane may have a partially overturned vehicle. Southbound Research Park near University should be clearing quickly. And that wreck with a pedestrian involved is near Hobbs Road. I understand the parkway's one lane there. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over or slow down. It's the law. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Clouds really beginning to build into the Tennessee Valley through the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening. We also might see a couple of isolated thunderstorms through the heart of the afternoon, but the best chance for any sort of thunderstorm activity is going to come as we head into the evening, the overnight, and then through the earliest hours of Thursday morning. Some of those thunderstorms might pack a bit of a punch. Some heavy rain and gusty winds going to be our primary threat, but a little bit of hail certainly can't be ruled out. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tomorrow, NFL Thursday night, the Commanders a 1-point underdog against the Bears in Chicago. On Sunday, the Saints a 1.5-point home underdog against Joe Burrow and the Bengals, the over-under at 44, and the Falcons plus 5.5 against the 49ers, 44.5 the total. National League divisional playoffs continue today with Game 2 in Atlanta. The Braves minus 130 money line against the Phillies at plus 120. The Padres plus 153 at the Dodgers at minus 185. The American League divisional round continues tomorrow. The Mariners at the Astros and the Yankees hosting the Guardians. Red Hot winning picks at experts.winnersandwhiners.com. Save 75% on any best bet package with the promo code ACTION75. That's ACTION75 at experts.winnersandwhiners.com.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And with that, we do say welcome into Hour 2 of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you for one more hour here on a Wednesday morning. And what a fantastic Wednesday morning it has been so far. What a first hour it has been so far. Hour 2 will be just the same. I promise it will be. We mentioned that the power index or whatever. By the way, Auburn only has, well, not a good chance to win at Ole Miss. 85% they're saying Ole Miss beats Auburn in Oxford on Saturday. That could be doom for Brian Harsin. But anyway, time for us to continue that college football talk.
Yeah, no question about it. And we enjoy our weekly visits with our next guest. He has such a busy schedule, and also want to give him a shout-out. He just re-upped with CBS and 24/7 Sports. He's got probably the most watched and I think the best YouTube show, in the business for college football right now. And he does a great job giving you the pulse of the sport, not just in the SEC, but throughout the country. And you can catch that show, as we always say, on Sundays. He'll go live, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 Eastern, 7 Central Time. And he's always on the road now. He's becoming as much of an institution as College Game Day. But Josh Pate was in Tuscaloosa this past Saturday. It was great to see him, and he's joining us now once again on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Josh, good morning. Welcome back to Huntsville. How are you?
It's good to be here. And how about that rare press box visit? That's how I ran into you last week. I normally don't make my way up there, mainly because I don't like walking up the stairs.
Right, and you spend a lot of time on the field. You usually watch the games from field level. And I know you were I believe you had 2 stops on Saturday. I know you were going to go to LSU in Tennessee. That was a blowout. The Vols controlled that. And now that's heightened this game for Alabama and Tennessee, even more. Josh, I know you've been around the sport a long time, especially the Southeastern Conference. This is probably the most anticipated Alabama-Tennessee game probably since 2007 when the Vols were a favorite going in Nick Saban's first year. They did play Alabama close in 09 and 15, but I think everybody thought Alabama was the prohibitive favorite going in. This is the first time in many, many years that I think that the game is getting the kind of build-up it deserves, where this is anybody's game right now, and Tennessee has a absolute legit shot to win in Neyland Stadium.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest game this millennium. I mean, I'd go past 07. And That's a Saturday, by the way. I remember that thing so vividly. There are games that happened in 2017 that I don't remember vividly. But that 07 Bama-Tennessee game, the textbook suspensions before the game, the onside kick to start the game, I remember all that very vividly. And but at the same time, when you look at consequence from both sides and you look at national consequence, I don't think that game matches this one at all. I know why you mentioned that date, because that was sort of the beginning of this run.
Right.
The iPhone comes out that year, and also Bama starts beating Tennessee that year, and neither have stopped since then. And so, yeah, this definitively feels like the biggest game in the country this weekend. And we haven't said that about Bama, Tennessee since then, and including that year. We didn't say it about it that year. So, yeah, I think it's a really, really big deal. And I also, for those who expand the reach just beyond a fan base, I know a Bama fan does not want to hear that Tennessee being back would be good for the sport, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't want to hear it if I were you either. But if you just remove that for 5 seconds and you think about the state of the NL, or not the NL East, that's an entirely separate conversation. The SEC East, it's been so just bland. It's been so unspecial lately. And everybody is asked about whether Florida is going to be this or that any given year. To me, it's been the down nature of Tennessee that's really impacted the state of the SEC East. And so just selfishly, as a college football fan and someone who covers this conference a lot, I'd love to see Tennessee sustain a little run here of being a top 10 caliber team, just for the sake of competitive balance, if nothing else.
So then what are the Vols' chances on Saturday?
Well, obviously the quarterback situation lingers over every bit of this entire prediction and all the conversation people are going to have on this game this week. I'll tell you one little hidden stat that I think matters a lot. They've got the 7th best rushing defense in the country right now. Tennessee does. I don't think anybody realizes that. I think a lot of folks chalk that up to, but that's just because the other team has to throw a lot to keep up with them, so they don't run it a lot. Well, I'm talking about yards per carry. So that kind of factors for that. But here's what I think will probably determine this game. Alabama was not able to achieve balance the other night.
Right.
And by offensive balance, I'm never talking about pure rush yards versus pass yards or rushing attempts versus passing attempts. That doesn't have to be equal in order to get you offensive balance. But what offensive balance is to me is whether the defense is convinced you're able to run or throw it on virtually any down. And we got to a point the other night where A&M really didn't have to respect the pass to the degree that you certainly would if Bryce Young were in, or just if Jalen were throwing the ball better. You fast forward to this Saturday, and if Alabama cannot achieve that balance, then it really spells trouble, not only because it's hard to keep up with Tennessee, or may be hard to keep up with Tennessee's score, and we'll see how that goes, but the other facet is Tennessee cannot stop Alabama if they have balance. There's no way. Alabama could go in there and hang 50 on them if Bama has offensive balance. If they don't have balance, that's when that little stat for Tennessee could pop up, because they are not bad stopping the run. And if you allow them to key on the run, then that really disproportionately bogs your offense down. So that's the first thing to watch. And really, I don't care who's playing quarterback. It could be Bryce. It could be Milroe. It wouldn't shock me if you saw Ty Simpson take snaps Saturday, if it gets to that. But whoever it is back there, you have got to be able to have them convinced that you're willing to throw the ball and you're able to throw the ball. And so if that happens, Bama's going to win that game. If that's a struggle, I think Tennessee's going to win that game. And by the way, what a bold prediction on my part there.
Well, Josh, I'm gonna make you Dick Clark on the $64,000 pyramid. What are you hearing about Bryce Young? I'm asked every day. I still think 75% or more he's going to play in this game. What are your sources telling you?
I don't think he's done a lot of throwing at practice yet this week. Now that doesn't mean anything, because if I were Nick Saban and his medical staff and I were going to play him Saturday, I wouldn't have had him throw this week yet either. So that doesn't mean anything necessarily. The only reason I mention that is because you're going to hear a lot of people telling you lies about what's happened in Alabama's practice so far this weekend. Bryce looks good throwing the ball. He's pushing the ball down the field. Well, he doesn't, because he hasn't thrown the ball. Now, what I do expect, if I had to bet money, is I would expect him to play Saturday. And from that point, it doesn't become, is he playing? Well, you'll see him out there. It will become, what version of Bryce Young are we getting? Because this is not some situation where once number 9 trots out on the field, all your answers all your questions are answered and all your problems are solved. I mean, you saw him start 4 quarters against Texas and they still almost lost. So that's just the beginning of Saturday, is figuring out what the quarterback situation is. Now, on the other side of it, if he can't go, that to me is hopefully something we never have to find out about. But if he can't go, I think that there is a much better game in Jalen Milroe passing the ball than what we saw the other day. But if I'm wrong on that, I don't think they would hesitate to play Ty Simpson. And I asked around about that a little bit, and it's just that was the game plan the other night. I don't think they'd hesitate, though. Moving forward, I think that they've probably invested a little more time in trying to get him ready just in case this week. So I think we'll see Bryce Young. But I do not think it's the foregone conclusion that everyone else seems to think it is.
And then you look at it on the other side of the ball. I mean, Texas A&M was close. I mean, they had Alabama, thanks to some turnovers. They had Alabama. They had a shot to win this game. Jimbo Fisher took a lot of heat and has taken a lot of heat. But you look at that program, and Josh, where's it at? I mean, is it one of these ones where the expectation should be another year or so? Because this recruiting class, you look at the guys that they started, they're young. A lot of sophomores, a lot of freshmen in that lineup. Is it not time to panic for Texas A&M, or should they panic?
Well, yeah, they should panic. If by panic you mean making changes, because there's one glaring change they have to make there offensively, and I think Jimbo Fisher knows that. I think they know that, and I think he will make that change. And by change, I just mean offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
In other words, getting one. And that's its own set of questions, because you obviously have to ask, well, what does an offensive coordinator do under Jimbo Fisher? Does he call plays? Does he just stand there and wear a name tag? What does he do? So, yeah, I think it would be time to panic there, because this is not a one-year thing. The struggles they're showing this year are the same struggles they've shown the last several years. So, yeah, I think that. I think the program's ultrasound. It's fine. The program's very strong. This team is not good. And last year's team ended up not being great, but that's not a program problem. Everything that you need from a program standpoint is in place. From an execution standpoint and putting your players in best positions to succeed standpoint, that's where they've struggled. But that's just a tweak. You can fix that over the span of one spring and one summer. What they don't have that a lot of other places have are those terminal flaws where your staff's not good enough, your recruiting's not good enough, your fan base is not engaged enough, you don't have enough money. They don't have those problems. So it's a quick fix in theory. It's a much harder fix when you consider who has to make the call and what that call would mean for them.
And we're talking to Josh Pate, of course, as the Late Kick live show 3 times a week, and then, of course, the Late Kick pod. And speaking of struggles, what a last 3 weeks it's been for Oklahoma, and the Red River Shootout was a disaster. What is the pulse of the Sooners right now with Brent Venables in year one?
Well, this year feels dead to me.
Yes.
I mean, this year feels kind of like a totaled car. Kind of made that analogy the other night. Here's where you do yourself a disservice, though. If the car is totaled, it's just totaled. So it doesn't make any sense to continue judging the mechanic when he comes back to the car every week and he can't fix it, because you knew it was totaled 3 weeks ago. So if I really do believe what I just said, and I think this season is done, it's totaled, I'm not going to keep thinking Brent Venables is 10% worse of a coach because they keep losing.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point, I am openly telling myself the best coach in the world couldn't save this season with this team. So is that his fault? Yeah, that falls on his plate. Sure, he's the head coach. But what it doesn't do in my mind, that it is doing in some people's minds apparently, is putting this big red X on his forehead and determining that he's not good enough to be a head coach there. I'm still way out on whether he will or won't work out there. What I think is, I think that you'll see a totally different version of them this next year, and it may mean that he has to filter some of his staff out of there. It may mean that they have another huge round of portal exits and entrances this spring, but I think he's learning a whole lot. Listen, he's a brand-new head coach, and for all the Kirby Smarts and Ryan Days and Lincoln Rileys that you've seen take over programs as first-time head coaches and have success, that's not the way it's always going to work, especially in the portal and NIL era, where you have new things to know that you didn't used to have to know. There are going to be some fantastically high-profile examples of guys crashing and burning early. Those are the consequences you pay. That's the risk you run when you hire a guy at that level who's never been a head coach before. That's not Toledo. That's Oklahoma. So you see every mistake those guys make. frankly, I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often, but it's happening there now. So do you have a quick trigger, or do you understand the inherent risk in making that hire and have patience? That's the question, more so than Brent Venables is the question to me at Oklahoma.
I'm going to ask it because we don't talk Pac-12 at all on this show, really, because they haven't been relevant. Is USC, UCLA, or Oregon, are they any of those three contenders for the playoffs, do you think? Or is it just they're just going to beat each other up and take the Pac-12 out again?
I think what you just said is going to happen. I think they're going to beat each other up. The answer to your first question is, yeah, all three of them are contenders right now because they play at a Power 5 conference, and none of them have lost a game. Well, Oregon's lost a game, but I think they could probably get back in this thing too because they look really good right now, and a one-loss Pac-12 champ I think still has a decent shot to make it if the one loss is to Georgia. Although they lost by like 450 points, so maybe that's held against. But I think that if you look at this game this Saturday, USC goes to Utah this Saturday. And, you know, that line on that thing is Utah minus 3.5. So that's essentially home field. But even if you consider that, that means if you take them out of Salt Lake City, you put them in Las Vegas, odds makers are still telling you that 2-loss Utah team against undefeated USC on a neutral field is essentially equal. And that's hard for some people to wrap their minds around. But Utah's gone to Florida, and they went to UCLA already last week. They've played a couple of teams tougher probably than anything USC has faced. And I'm ultra interested to see this because there's this stat that's starting to get realized on the West Coast about Caleb Williams. He's got the best numbers out of any quarterback against man coverage in that conference. He's got the worst numbers of any quarterback against zone coverage. Here's the book on Utah. They play man regardless. And so Kyle Whittingham's already got 2 losses there, wounded animal mode. They're back against the wall. They're at home. This is kind of their final stand. I'm really interested to see if they deviate defensively from what they normally do. Because if they do and they harness that home crowd, they could really run up a number on USC. But if they're stubborn, they could also get beat at home and be a 3-loss team before Halloween.
Yeah, they really could, and that's a great take. And speaking of before Halloween, is this going to be the last week for Brian Harsin? Will he make it to the bye week or through the bye week if they do not perform well in Oxford, Josh?
Well, my guess has been the bye week, and that's a blind guess. That's not informed. No one's told me that. I've just kind of tried to use whatever little common sense I have and look at the schedule and say, well, if you're going to do it, isn't that the time to do it? And so I guess that's still where I'm leaning. I want to reiterate, I don't know who's going to make the decision, but that's where I'm leaning. And I don't think that Auburn's blind to what the rest of the country's doing. So they see these other jobs opening up early. They see coaches being fired at the NFL level early. You know, I haven't heard Matt Rule's name with Auburn, but certainly they would want to kick the tires there. So when you see some of the other candidates that you may have your eye on start to come open, then, yeah, it probably serves you best if something is already a formality to just go ahead and formally do it. I have had the bye week circled for a while, though. That's kind of where I think that's going, but who knows down there.
Which job, I mean, if the Auburn job does come open, Auburn, Nebraska, and Wisconsin, 3 Power 5 jobs. Nebraska's had the ton of tradition. Wisconsin, under Barry Alvarez, built some tradition. And you got Auburn. Which one of those is the better one to take?
Auburn, by 10 miles. And
Okay.
I know some national types who have probably never darkened the door of Lee County, Alabama, have been running their mouth about that this week. They don't know what they're talking about. It is a hard job now. I think the Auburn job, pound for pound, is the hardest job in college football when you blend expectations with what the reality of your schedule is. So I'm not telling you it's cakewalk, but you get top dollar there. You get access to high-level athletes. You can get them in school. And it's in the South. It's in the premier conference of college football. You can judge Auburn on the harshest scale you want to. That's still a much better job than Wisconsin or Nebraska will ever think about being. So anyone who tells you otherwise either is ignorant to the situation or has an axe to grind against Auburn, and that's fine. But, man, let's not confuse reality here with whatever it is that people are smoking when they tell you, no, the Auburn job's not as good as some of these others. Yeah, it is. It comfortably is.
Well, and is Matt Rule going to be the most coveted free agent now? Because you welcomed him back to college football, Josh.
Yeah, I did welcome him back. I think he needs to come back. I'm always big on these guys going and flexing and trying to do whatever they want to do at the next level. But Nick Saban came back to us.
Right.
Matt Rule's coming back to us. I think Steve Spurrier came back to us. Sometimes you just got to go and you got to let him visit the vacation property to realize what home is, and home is college football. And I think he's going to come back. And I hear a lot of people talking about how Nebraska's a good fit for him, how Wisconsin's a good fit for him. Well, I mean, I loved what he did at Baylor, but there's this thinking around Matt Rule that you just kind of mail in recruiting. Oh, he's not going to be a good recruiter. Well, I don't know that. I think a lot of people think that, but I don't know that. Now, I don't think they want to take a gamble on a guy who may be able to recruit at Auburn. They did that. They're doing that right now.
Yeah.
I think they want a proven commodity as a recruiter. So I don't necessarily know that those two line up, but I'm really interested in Matt Rule just in general.
Well, and I know the Josh Pate extravaganza, your traveling party is headed back to Knoxville for this Alabama-Tennessee game. As we're wrapping up our conversation with you, does Tennessee break this streak? What is your gut telling you about this game? As you said, you think it's the biggest game in the country this week.
Yeah, I actually do lean Tennessee to win the game.
Wow.
I've got a feel on Bama. I don't think Bama's played their best football yet. I think that there's coming a day this season where they marry that pass rush and that evolving, improving secondary with a healthy Bryce Young and an incredible Jahmyr Gibbs in that ground game, and I think Bama will end up being the best team in the country. They are still my favorite to win the national championship, but I don't think that they're peaking yet. I do think Tennessee is. I think the moment's right for them. They've already had one of those big home environments against Florida. They handled it very well. They just went on the road and handled LSU very well. So it's not an unproven Tennessee team. I think they are a known commodity, and I think they're going to end up pulling that thing out Saturday. And it may be one of two times you see this matchup this year, for all we know.
Oh, wow. That would be insane and crazy, and it's going to be a crazy environment. Josh Pate will be there on the sidelines and will have instant reaction. And, of course, continue to coming up Thursday, going to have another Late Kick Live. He's already had 2 shows this week, and you can, of course, catch them on Sunday and Tuesday as well. And don't forget his Late Kick Pod. It's outstanding stuff. Great coverage of college football. And once again, congratulations on re-upping with 24/7 and CBS, becoming a stalwart in the business. It was great to see you in Tuscaloosa, sir. Safe travels to Knoxville, and we always thank you for your time.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right, thanks, Josh Pate, with us. Good stuff there. He leaning towards Tennessee.
There you go, Smokey. He's leaning toward the Vols. I'd have to puke, but that's just me.
You know what? Vols fans are confident. I mean, I'll say that they're confident. But I want to know, though, the level-headed ones, the ones that are, that do it all. I wonder if they're getting nervous at the fact that people are actually picking Tennessee. I'm wondering if it's one of those things where they feel a little nervous because they haven't been in that spot in a while.
Again, we all believe, and he does himself. I know he was. People have quoted him as saying on his Late Kick Pod and Late Kick Live that he gave it a 55% chance that Bryce would play. I think it's more than that, but still, he told us on the show right now he's playing. So to me, I don't really care about percentages. He just said he's playing. I do too. But what the point is, and he made it, is what version of him are you going to get? Is he going to be rusty? Is he going to be playing well like he was before he went out? Because people
Does he have the strength to throw that deep ball?
Well, people forget before he went out against Arkansas, if it hadn't been for the kerthunks and the drops, and they can't have the kerthunks Saturday because if they do, they're not going to win. You got to make plays. He had thrown for almost 100 yards in a little over a quarter.
Right.
I mean, if they had caught the ball, he would have thrown for over 200. He was torching Arkansas. He has the ability to do that to Tennessee. But, one, is Byron Young in the pass rush going to be able to get home? Or how accurate is Bryce going to be? How is he going to be feeling? How's his arm? So, and again, I'm not surprised. Look, Bryce didn't throw a lot at the beginning of last week. Okay, he amped it up toward the middle and the end of the week and then decided not to play. I think they wanted to rest him. I think they felt like they could still beat Dirt Neck because a lot of people can, even without your starting quarterback, considering your playbook has got 1998 on it. And Josh kind of referenced that
he did.
In basically hiring an offensive coordinator. So, again.
go ahead.
But no, I'm just saying Alabama got through the game. I will say, it's interesting that in the second half, Bryce Young went into the tunnel and I think started loosening up. If Alabama had fallen behind late in the game, I wouldn't have been surprised if they put in Bryce Young because, again, I just felt like Milroe had anxiety. He calmed down a little bit the second half, but he still looked uncomfortable throwing the ball, and he's inexperienced.
Yeah.
And so Bryce would have been able to – he was in his pads. He could have tried to rally the troops, and I'm not going to change what I've said this week. They need Bryce Young to win this game. I'm not disrespecting Milroe, but he's inexperienced. This Tennessee offense is as good as Alabama's seen all year. They're going to have to score points, and to me, they can't score enough with Milroe at the helm.
You wouldn't have any faith in Bill O'Brien putting together a good offensive plan execute it so that he would put Milroe in a spot to win.
I just thought the offensive plan last week, I didn't have, there's a lot of people raking him over the coals. I wasn't completely raking him over the coals, but at the same time, I've already said there was a handful of, play calls I didn't agree with. And then overall, when you look at the game plan, I didn't think that they played to Milroe's strengths enough. Right. Because he threw the RPO touchdown to certainly Jermaine Burton, and then they used some the same action on the seam pass to the tight end. But that's really the only couple of times that I felt like, from a passing game perspective, they went to Milroe's strengths using the RPO or the quick hitters that you needed to do. I didn't think that they did that enough in the game. And I didn't think they ran the zone read enough in the game. I thought that it was almost draw it up, like, okay, try to go through your progressions and then scramble instead of designed runs. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think there were enough of those. I didn't think they played to his strengths enough. It was almost like it was a game plan where and according to Milroe, and I'm sure he was telling the truth, they didn't tell him till that morning he was starting. It was almost like it was a game plan for Bryce Young. And so it's going to be interesting to see how Alabama plays on Saturday. And we haven't really talked about this angle.
Right.
Has Alabama held some stuff back that they haven't shown on film that they could show to Tennessee?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting. But, and I thought of something. The Texas A&M Jimbo Fisher offensive situation reminds me of something, and I'll tell you what it is when we return from this break.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Trying to clear a couple of wrecks on 3. One's northbound at Ready section. That one reported with an injury. The other one's southbound at Douglas. And we had that pedestrian-involved accident Parkway northbound at Hobbs Road. They're still working on that one. Need help finding admin, accounting, or medical staff? Snelling can help. Snelling's how Huntsville's best companies hire talent. 256-382-4000. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Mercury Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, Mercury Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked the reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs.
I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill. Humphreys is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials. $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints. $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget football trivia every Sunday night at 6. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Attorney Tommy Sinyard on behalf of Sinyard Law, and again proud to be a sponsor of All Things Football here on ESPN Radio. My son Bart and I started our own law firm July 1 and are very proud and excited to be bringing you our 50 years of collective national award-winning injury trial law experience. Check us out on the web, sinyardlaw.com.
Sinyard Law, nationally recognized, locally respected.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And Josh Pate, who joined us in that last segment, alluded to the fact that, hey, okay, Jimbo Fisher needs to change his offense, and he's realized this, and that means he's going to go out and get an offensive coordinator. But if you get an offensive coordinator, what does the offensive coordinator really do? What is he going to be? You know, is it going to be Jimbo's offense, and the offensive coordinator is going to be what, name and only? And I got to thinking, I'm like, oh my goodness, it reminds me of Gus Malzahn at Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
Wins 8 games, 9 games.
Well, remember his first year, he nearly won a national championship.
Right. And Jimbo Fisher's had that one year where, you know, the COVID year, they felt like they should have gotten to the playoffs, but they didn't get there.
But propagandists say that.
Right. But if Jimbo Fisher gets an offensive coordinator, is it going to be Jimbo's offense? What are they going to run? It just reminded me a lot. I just thought of Auburn and Gus Malzahn when he was changing his offensive coordinators. You know, is it going to be Gus's offense? Is it going to be the offensive coordinator? Who's calling the plays? What plays are they calling? Are they calling Gus's plays? Are they calling the coordinator plays? It just kind of reminded me of that situation at Auburn. I'm sorry, that's just that's where my mind went to on that.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, none of those were ever the right fit. Here's the ironic part. One of those offensive coordinators, and really he only coached quarterbacks, is calling the plays for Bo Nix at Oregon right now, Kenny Dillingham.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's no question about that. And, you know, I don't – it's going to be interesting to see how that whole thing is handled, because – really, throughout his whole career, since Jimbo became a head coach, he's called the plays, And while he's had offensive coordinators, he's basically the OC as well. I mean, it's basically a title thing, and he works closely with the quarterback. So I'm going to be really interested to see, I know there's a ton of booster involvement at Texas A&M. What suggestions they make to Jimbo, if Jimbo truly has control of that program, and what moves they make, because I think they're headed back to 8-4 at best, probably 7-5, and so we'll see, because the pressure's going to amp up, because this is year 5 for him, and he's only had one good year, and the rest of them have been mediocre, and they've got all that talent. Certainly, from a great source, I know Bill O'Brien, after coaching against them on Saturday, feels like that they've got a pro at just about every position in the front 7 defensively. So defensively, they're good enough. They did get pushed around in the trenches a little bit by Appalachian, but again, it was still a 17-14 game. Basically, they just haven't been able to score enough points. And if you go back and look at pretty much every game for Texas A&M, the offense has fallen short. No matter who the quarterback was, even before Max Johnson took over as starter and got injured.
On this day in history, just so you know, we had the October 12th, 1997, the NLCD, the National League Championship Divisional game. And that was when Levon Hernandez struck out 15 Braves because of a Eric
Gregg strike zone, 5 feet off the plate. Well, not feet, but it was several inches.
Yeah. Braves lost that game 15 years ago.
Hey, you remember that show, Jake and the Fat Man? That was the end. That was the end of Eric Gregg. See ya.
Well, Braves lost that one 1997. Yesterday, the Braves were in the NLDS.
Yeah, they were.
And the Philadelphia Phillies got the best of them. Braves made a gallant comeback, came up short in the 9th inning, scored 3 in the 9th, made a game of it. But the Phillies take game 1.
3-run homer from Matt Olson, put some pressure. But then, a diving catch in the outfield by Nick Castellanos, I believe, in Philly, really saved their bacon. And all that matters is you win. Look at the Astros. Justin Verlander gave up more runs than he's given up in a postseason start. It looked bleak. And then here you go in the 9th inning, gag me with a spoon. And that's what happened with the dang
3-run
Seattle
home run
Mariners,
there, I believe,
and
in the
8-7.
Astros game,
So if I'm the Mariners, I'm probably just going to start packing, because that's probably going to be it. No, I mean, we'll see. Maybe the Mariners can bounce back. The Braves certainly need to. Our good friend Kyle Wright, Buckhorn Buck, Vanderbilt Commodore, first-round pick, 21-game winner. He's on the bump this afternoon, and that game you'll be able to hear on Zone 2, I believe, as a part of our network of the ESPN Radio, like a full coverage of the playoffs. But the Braves, I believe at 3:45, Scott, or thereabouts, are going to be taking the diamond in Truist Park against Philly, and they're going up against a pitcher they haven't had a lot of luck, Zach Wheeler. He's a Georgia native, someone that the Braves had interest in drafting out of high school, potentially have thought about trading for. He's been a stalwart for the Phillies. This is going to be an interesting pendulum game. The Braves need this win to stay in this series, because if you go down 0-2 in a best-of-5, your back is firmly against the wall.
Yeah, and the Atlanta Braves, as good as they have been this year, and they have been fantastic, the one bugaboo is day games.
Mm-hmm.
The Atlanta Braves record in day games this year, quite a stark comparison to night games. And unfortunately, these first two, Atlanta was 24-27 in day games this year, the fewest number of wins by any team in the postseason. The Phillies had the second fewest with 25. They were not all that great in day games as well, 25 and 28. So neither team really burning the trail up in day games. The night games are where Atlanta really made their hay, as did the Phillies. But still, though, somebody will have to win today. Somebody will take that win. The Braves are either going to be down 0-2, and remember, this is a best-of-5 series, not a best-of-7. It is a best-of-5 series, so the Braves can't afford to go down 0-2. But we're putting the Buckhorn Buck on the mound today. Kyle Wright will go for the Atlanta Braves. 21-game winner is right.
Yep, and we're just looking at Yordan Alvarez hit the ball to the moon as the
he did.
Houston Astros win the game 8-7 as they were down to their last out, but the Mariners couldn't close the deal. And so Houston, as many people believe, I believe the Dodgers had the best record in baseball, but many think that Houston, with Justin Verlander, the ageless one, could be the favorites to win the World Series, and certainly that was a huge comeback for them. And, of course, the hated Dodgers beat the Padres last night. So the Dodgers hold them off.
Well, Padres nearly came back in that one as well.
Nearly, but they didn't. It's just kind of like Seattle. Well, Seattle was 1 out away. Well, damn it, they didn't win. And so when you don't win, when you have a disgusting Kirk Gibson-type moment, a lot of times in baseball it's hard to recover from. So we'll see if the Braves can recover. They nearly had an epic comeback yesterday.
Right.
And we'll see if they can take that momentum and start quickly, and hopefully Kyle Wright will continue his great level. And remember how good he was in the postseason a year ago.
Well, they need him to be good today. They need him to be good to get that win. Having a series tied at 1 is a whole lot better.
Hey, speaking of that,
than down 0-2.
In studio tomorrow live, we'll have our own baseball analyst.
That's right.
And an outstanding, hopefully future major leaguer full-time coming up next year. And one of the best athletes in the history of Madison County. He's having his annual camp coming up in November, and that is the one, the only, Brewer Hickley.
We should just get him to sit in for that last hour. He's coming in at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
We should just let him just sit in for the last hour and just give his thoughts on a lot of things.
Absolutely.
All right. 256-576-4977 if you want to join
I do have
the
a guest scheduled for 8:25, though, if he wants to talk Alabama football.
He can sit there and do that. I'm sure he does.
I'm sure he'd like to. He was a great football player. That was his favorite sport.
Yes.
That's how good an athlete Brewer Hickley is.
He's very good on the radio, too, though.
He is. He's polished.
And I
don't want him to take my job, though.
Well, I talked to him the other day, and he's happy because every time he's been in the studio, you've not been here.
Well, that's true. Every time, I don't know, lately at least, every time something comes up. Hopefully I'm not going to fall out tonight.
Oh,
praise the Lord,
Maybe Bill Walton will give away.
Yeah, I don't need any of the wacky tobacco, man.
You can have some of that Ric Flair drip they're selling.
Oh, I don't need any Ric Flair drip either.
You are feeling it today, though. I'll say that.
Well, we've been getting messages too.
You are.
Like our former colleague here at 97.7 The Zone, Alicia Holt, she did message in, and she gave her thoughts on the guest picker. She had a couple of interesting options, both from the music industry.
Well, Kenny Chesney is out. We've learned that one. He's not, he's a poser.
I think the reason she's picking this is because I think the last time Tennessee beat Alabama in 2006, he had the #1 song in America.
Yeah.
But she's picking Justin Timberlake or Trace Adkins.
Justin Timberlake or Trace Adkins.
Yeah.
Trace Adkins, I think, would fit. Justin Timberlake.
I think he had the #1 song in the country in 2006, though. I think that's why that.
Timberlake's West Tennessee, though. That's the
is he?
True.
He's Memphis,
that's
right?
True. That's
so wait
true.
a minute. I thought if you were from Tennessee, that's fine. So Tennessee has this West Tennessee, East Tennessee thing?
Knoxville's not a fan of Memphis.
Why?
The rivalry.
Well, that meant remember Bruce Pearl and John Calipari hated each other. Remember, because it was Memphis versus Tennessee.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But still, though, if Justin Timberlake wanted to be on game day, Tennessee fans would not like that.
And a good friend, Freddie Kirby, he did send in. He thinks it should be Huntsville's Conridge Holloway.
Ooh, the Artful Dodger.
Yeah, who works for Tennessee. But we all know who he'd pick.
Well, that's what you're supposed to pick.
Well, more than likely.
Was it Lloyd?
Floyd.
Floyd's with us this morning. Good morning, Floyd.
Walker County's finest. Hello, Floyd.
There we go. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Good, Floyd.
I'm just going to let you know that the people in eastern Tennessee are just absolutely nuts. My wife and I were up there in the Gatlinburg area this past weekend. We came home yesterday, and oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. I carried my Alabama hat, and my wife asked, "Was are you really going to wear that up here?" I said, "Well, just getting prepared." Well, after Saturday night, they really became, Alabama not a good showing. They are more confident now than, oh my, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I had one lady tell me, they were just going to kick our butts up and down the field, and I took a lot of it. But I couldn't help but ask. I compliment their offense, sort of like what Drew was saying a while ago. But I asked how Coach Whipple was going to do with their softest Charmin defense, and she didn't like that very much.
Sounds interesting. So that's where I was wondering. I mean, I know Tennessee's played well, but it's the performance that Bama showed against Texas A&M that's giving the Vols fans the hope.
Well, and some of them believe Bryce Young may be out for the season, which is lunacy. They're going to be disappointed on Saturday night. Saturday. Well, hopefully after Saturday night when he's smoking a cigar in the locker room. I mean, we'll see. I believe he's playing. I mean, I'll just say that. I mean, anything can happen in practice. He could have a setback. But barring that, Bryce Young will be playing.
Oh, yeah. They were after Saturday night, it just fueled the fire. I mean, yes. It was crazy. It was crazy. But, yeah, they of course, some of them didn't understand the Mr. Whipple part of the comment, but, they're not as old as I am, so that'll.
Well, I know you just got through from being up there, Floyd, but our good friend Brandon, who I know you've heard call the show, they are vacationing. I guess this is their fall break or whatnot this week, and they decided to go up to Pigeon Forge and then go on down to the Tennessee game. And he sent me this text last night, and his exact quote is, his son, I believe, is 11 years old, but he goes, "My son is up here trying to trash talk every single Rocky Flop fan he sees." And I told him to shut up because I can't fight the entire city of Pigeon Forge.
That's exactly,
All right. Thanks for the call, bro.
I'm not trashing Tennessee fans. I'm just reading a quote.
We got to get one more. Thanks for the phone call, Floyd. I want to get one more in here before we got to take this break. Lewis is with us.
What's up, Lewis?
Good morning, fellas. What's going on?
Good morning, bud.
So what did you take out of it? Your boys kind of crashed and burned. I mean, they threw for a lot of yards, but they just didn't score any points.
Well, my take on our situation is our quarterback is not two-dimensional. He's one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Either run first, pass if I have no other choice, and it's not going to be far.
Right.
And obviously they know that. They don't call a play in which to get him to pass the ball, and when they do, he don't pass it. He see his open receivers, but he does not pass the ball. He hesitates and begins to scramble. And he showed every sign as if when he was at Arizona State, he had absolutely no receivers he could trust because there's no trust in his ability to trust his receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I got from our take on the quarterback. As far as the secondary, I have no idea where the secondary come from, but I don't believe it was LSU.
Yeah.
Secondary was trash. It looked like in Auburn secondary. And I say that because Auburn always had talent, but they never really just hit on all cylinders. They just ran so inconsistent, you wouldn't know what to get from Auburn. That's what LSU looked like in that game. And when I watched the Auburn game, they looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to Tennessee, I'll give them their credit. They have a talented team, and they are fast.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bama has to worry about the speed because one thing that has always hurt Nick Saban's team was the up-tempo. That's why that one year they slowed it down with the hurry-up offense. They kind of sort of made those changes, and I'm not a Bama hater. I just call stuff for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if they use their speed and the up-tempo all game, Bama's going to have a problem because that's always been an issue for Bama. And as far as y'all's quarterback situation, I really don't know what's going on, but if Bryce isn't playing and they pressure old buddy, it's going to be a rude awakening.
Could be. All right, Lewis, thanks for the call, bud.
Thank you.
We have got to get that break in. Talking ball.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-306-8158 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-306-8158. That's 800-306-8158. What do you have to lose? Call 800-306-8158. Again, 800-306-8158.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Really, your tomorrow's headlines today really is the Atlanta Braves. They're going to be back here in action.
Must win. Got to get a job done today.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. Yes, they'll be taking on the Philadelphia Phillies later this afternoon. And make sure you download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app. We are the home for the Atlanta Braves, and you'll be able to listen to it with the power of 97.7 ESPN The Zone in the palm of your hands. 3:35 first pitch. So make sure you download the app today, and you can have all of the 97.7 ESPN The Zone stations with you in the palm of your hands. Same way for Saturday as well. You got Alabama football at 2:30 in Knoxville. If you can't be in front of the TV, or if you're out and about doing all that stuff, just download the app, and you can have Alabama football at the palm of your hands. The power of 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Anyway, so don't forget, we also got football coming up on Friday as well. And you got the football game Saturday over at Toyota Field. Those are really some of the important headlines right there. One note I did want to put out, and Justin Ferguson put this out yesterday. And that Auburn has beaten Ole Miss 6 straight times. We haven't talked a lot about Auburn and Ole Miss.
And they beat them last year. It was probably their biggest win.
Yep. All right. Since then, Ole Miss has gone 10-1, averaging 33 points per game.
Mm-hmm.
Greatly improving his defense, greatly improving the O-line. Auburn, since then, has gone 3-8, averaging just 16.5 points a game per Power 5 teams.
And if you wanted to rub it in, you could go look at Bo Nix's stats for Oregon and look at the quarterback stats for Auburn's QBs. Yeesh. Not good. And Bo Nix received a lot of criticism from Auburn fans, but again, sometimes it's just the system you're in and the circumstances.
So Bo Nix this year has thrown for 1,526 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions.
And all those turnovers, I believe, came against Georgia. Yeah.
He has probably thrown for more yards than the Auburn team themselves.
There's no question about that.
All right, that's going to do it for the 2 hours of fun that we have had this morning.
Grady the Great, 45-31 Alabama, he said. MVP Bryce Young, that was his pick.
Yep.
Gave a shout